What's up, Trojans? I hope you guys aren't as upset as I am right now. I'm not even upset about the loss. I mean, 2-1's a pretty good start to the season. It was a close game. Could have gone either way, really, but unfortunately, Sterling Shepard suffered a non-contact. It looks like a really bad injury. I hope he can somehow recover from it. It's probably an ACL tear, just from looking at the non-contact, the way he was grabbing his knee. Very worried about it. Last play of the game, too. He was so close to just, getting out of there okay. You know, you're trying to run hard. You're trying to be the guy that makes the catch, that gets the touchdown, tie the game up, or go for two as we did in week one. You're just trying to do all that and, gets a non-contact injury just from running wrong. It's that turf, though. That MetLife turf is bad. Every time anyone walks on that turf, they're like, yeah, it doesn't feel right. And I don't know. It's got to get changed. I don't care how many times it's got to get changed. It's got to get changed. New turf, new technology. So someone's got to do something about this because it's just way too much. These non-contact injuries, they're just ruining the entire sport, and it's just horrible. I hope Shep can recover. I hope Shep can be okay. Honestly, Sterling Shepard's one of my favorite players on this team. Has been since we drafted him in 2016. In 2016 for the 2016 season. And I mean, he started off 2-0 and this season's 2-0. It's a really bad injury. If it is an ACL tear, I just hope he can be okay. Such a good Giant. I mean, really, he always showed up. He always gave his hardest. You could tell. After having an entire offseason, he started strong, against the Titans. He started the season strong last season, too, with this play here against the Broncos, that epic touchdown he had week one against them. He had a great game against them, too. He had a pretty solid game against the Titans. Yeah, it was really only that one play. And honestly, he was really good tonight, too. He had the one drop that was almost ruled a fumble. But, that's whatever. The ball got punched out. It was a good play by the defender. And, Shep is just, a guy. He always gives his hardest. Real great Giant. Honestly, I know he didn't win, a ton of rings or, was, amazing, outstanding. He's probably not, the best wide receiver the Giants have had or anything. But just his consistency when he is healthy, and he's been dealing with the injury bug his entire career. Very solid wide receiver. I draft him in the first round even. I mean, he's really good. I'm really glad he's been a part of this team because I really started watching the Giants in 2016, and Shep's been a big part of it. I've cheered so many times as Shep catches passes. Real great guy. But aside from, I just want to start off with that because I'm likely not having Shep for the rest of the season. If it is an ACL tear, I'm going to miss seeing him out on that field for the whole rest of the season. Such a fun guy to watch. He's able to catch the ball. He's what Richie James has been the past, few games for the Giants. Shep's been that, his entire career. Just real consistent guy. And even this season, you've seen what Shep can do. Shep's been really consistent. The ball's thrown to him. He's normally catching it. But aside from that, there was a game that just happened. Monday night primetime. Giants, Dallas. And unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but it was a close game. There's a lot to look at on film. A lot that the Giants could have done better. And a lot that can get cleaned up going into the future. I'm not really worried about the Giants. I think some things that were missed were Leonard Williams was definitely missed on that defensive line. I feel like Leonard Williams being there on that defensive line definitely could have changed a few plays. And not having Leonard Williams on that defensive line, I mean, honestly, I feel like because defensive linemen, they're not always making, especially interior defensive linemen like Leonard Williams is, they're not always making those big plays like the sacks and they're not like getting a ton of plays in a game, but just the way they move the line, I don't know. I guess he was underrated by me, really. I didn't think he meant that much to the D line, but it just felt like something was missing. Like he was breaking so many blocks like last week, and I was able to notice that, but I guess I really don't notice it every time. I kept thinking, to myself, seeing so many runs, especially some of the ones up the middle. Like, I feel like a guy like Leonard Williams could have really broken that one and gotten in and stopped that. Or, even gotten a couple more pressures on Cooper. And now, unfortunately, we didn't have that. And also on that D-line, unfortunately, Kayvon Thibodeau couldn't get out there and get a sack. I was really rooting for him to do something like that. That was also, I feel like, a difference maker in this game. I feel like if Kayvon Thibodeau could have gotten in there, gotten a sack, also could have been a different game. Because, 23-16, but it could have been a lot closer. There was the blocked field goal in the beginning, too. You got to shore up the line on that. The Giants were in this game. The Giants could have won this game. It was a close one. Like I said, a lot to clean up. Just, you hope a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau or Azeez Ojulari or even Dexter Lawrence, like, you hope one of those guys, all high picks in the draft, you hope one of those guys is able to get to the quarterback in a game. Unfortunately, none of them were able to. And honestly, the secondary, as big of a weakness as it feels like, I kind of want to cut the secondary some slack in this game. Although it felt like there were, maybe a couple missed opportunities and a couple bad breakdowns, but when the defensive line's not getting the sacks and the pressures and stuff that it needs to, I felt like the secondary played really well today, all things considered. And the defense overall, not bad. Unfortunately, after the Giants were up 13-6, they kind of collapsed, gave up a couple touchdowns. But the offense, could have been better. But we knew that going into the game that, the potential 19 points, because we had the 16 points, but really, that Graham Gano field goal was very likely on target because Graham Gano is such a great kicker. That injury it looked like Graham Gano had, it looked like, just the pressure of a 300-pound lineman stepping on your foot with football cleats. That's going to hurt. It doesn't look like he tweaked it in any way. I think it was just the pain of, like, getting stepped on like that. I feel like that would hurt a lot. So I hope he's okay as well. I'm really upset about the Sterling Shepard injury, though. And then, looking at the offense, Saquon looked great. Saquon had a lot of great runs today. I was really happy about Saquon. I had a lot to root for with Saquon. I really hope Saquon can stay with this team. I'd be willing to sign him for 3 years. I wouldn't do any more than 3 years, but I'd be willing to give him a good rate for 3 years with the ability to get out after 2. I'm down for that. I want to keep Saquon around. I'd want to keep Saquon around for the rest of his career. I don't want to keep Saquon around until he's 35 if he's still going, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I really like Saquon. I also really like Sterling Shepard. If somehow, some way this isn't an ACL tear, and or if it is, if somehow, some way Shep can come back next season, I would really like it. But Shep has to battle through so much. I don't know. I don't know. I want to see Shep back, and I guess the biggest thing on offense, the quarterback. Right, gotta talk about the quarterback. Daniel Jones had a couple bad plays, had a couple good plays. Daniel Jones is just such a question mark. Like, he's not proving. I feel like in everyone's heads, he's probably proving like he's simultaneously proving like anti-Daniel Jones and pro-Daniel Jones correct. Like, he's doing both at once. It's this season. It's honestly insane. I feel like he did the same thing last season. Like, he's proving both sides correct, I feel like. Last season, he was 4-7. This season, he's 2-1 and a lot of season left. But I just feel like he's proving both sides right. Like, he's not doing anything like spectacular, amazing, undeniable. Like, he's not having that sort of game. But on the other end, I feel like he's not completely terrible. I feel like he is making a lot of good moves. He is doing some good things that you want to see from, your quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what to think of him. I guess the offensive line today didn't help him out a ton. I don't know what you guys saw, but I saw Andrew Thomas looking good. I saw Evan Neal giving up a lot of pressures. Evan Neal definitely had some issues today, but he was going up against a stud pass rusher. I think Lawrence was rushing on him most of the game. I definitely saw. I think he gave up a sack to Lawrence. Evan Neal's having the growing pains that Andrew Thomas had. I hope they end up working together, maybe Andrew Thomas being there, and hopefully a better offensive line coach than Colombo, like Andrew Thomas started with. You would hope that sort of speeds up Evan Neal's progression. You hate to see him having that slow start, but hopefully, Evan Neal can get that together, and maybe this offseason we can do some more with that interior on the offensive line. Really shore that up. Or maybe, in the offseason, some of those guys, they just get better. Who knows? Anything can happen. I think that's about it from me. Graham Gano, amazing. Saquon, amazing. Andrew Thomas, pretty good. Sterling Shepard, amazing. Sterling Shepard, he came out there. He did everything he could for this team. Yeah, he had the one drop, but, man, Shep gave it his all. Thank you, Shep, for being a guy. I hope Shep gets well soon. A lot to work on. Close game. I think we can recover as a team next week for the Bears. Hopefully we can. Hopefully we can beat the Bears, get out to a nice 3-1, and be okay going into Green Bay. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully Shep is okay.